Hola, buenos dias, mi amigos, y bienvenidos a la hermosa Costa Rica. This week has been pretty awesome. I've spent the entire week here at the Costa Rica Rescue Center, where we have amazing animals like parrots that you can hear, macaws you can also hear. I can't take any videos with them because in Costa Rica, with me in it, because in Costa Rica it is illegal to take selfies of any kind with the wildlife, especially in rescue centers. This week has been fantastic. Costa Rica Rescue Center is about half an hour from the airport, really close to San Jose, and basically this is what I did for this entire week. So day one, we take off for the airport from Pennsylvania. We go to Cleveland Hopkins International Airport in Cleveland, Ohio. I know, Ohio. I had a really bad migraine that day. My back had been bothering me. Plus, if you've ever been on a flight for that long, it's like, oh my gosh, I just want to go to bed. So obviously I tried to stay up as long as possible, but I was like, I just need to sleep so I can enjoy the rest of my week. So I went to bed and woke up the next morning. That next morning, though, was where the fun began. Because although I didn't work with the animals the first day, I got to go on a tour to Isle Tortuga, which is on the west coast. It's an island just off of the tip of the Nicoya Peninsula. There I saw dolphins, spider monkeys, all kinds of beautiful reef fish because we got to actually swim and snorkel, which if you know me, I love to snorkel. I have my scuba license and everything, so I love snorkeling. I brought all my own stuff. Probably looked like an absolute goober out there, just like a dolphin in the water, but I had fun. From there, we came back. It was about a 2.5-2 hour drive there, and then another 2.5 hour back to the rescue center. That next day, I woke up and we had the induction tour. What is that bird? That was random and cool. So the induction tour started around 11 o'clock. They walked us around the facilities, showed us where everything was, where we would be meeting, where we'd be doing the food prep, and where we would be taking care of these animals. So these are obviously the mews behind me, the enclosures for the animals. But once that was done, kind of just had a half day. We got to lunch, had lunch, went back out, and I helped some of the teams with their food prep. There was a lot of people there, so it was a little bit of a busy day as far as like trying to find things for people to do. Then, we enjoyed the rest of the day. I walked around a little bit and we went to bed. That next day, however, I did sign up to go to La Fortuna, which is a national park where Arenal volcano is, which is one of the largest active volcanoes in the world. Definitely one of the largest active volcanoes in all of Central America. So that day, we actually had a lot of fun. We went, it was about a 3-hour drive out. One of the poor girls got a little car sick, I felt bad for her. But we got there and they still had a lot of fun. And obviously I did too. I had a blast because we got to go see the Arenal volcano. We drove right past it. It was absolutely gorgeous, very scenic, lots of wildlife. We went on a wildlife trail after we took some pictures of us at the volcano, or a distance from the volcano, but you could see it in the background. We went on this beautiful nature hike where we saw the first animal, one of the first animals, at least that I really remember seeing, was this amazing eyelash pit viper, which is one of the animals that I had on my bucket list to see when I got down here. And one of the workers that was like, I don't know, cutting the trees or something was like, hey guys, check that out. I was like, ooh, what is it? And everybody's like, damn, it's a snake. And I was like, whoa. So then I went over and I took some sweet videos of it. Had to restrain myself from using my snake hook to pick it up because I didn't want to disturb it. It looked like it was fine where it was. But we kept going on the hike. We got to go over some beautiful aerial bridges, some hanging bridges over like some pretty high ravines. And when you're carrying all that camera gear and stuff, it was a little difficult, but it was a lot of fun. Totally worth it. If you ever get out here, if you ever come to Costa Rica, that has got to be like one of the top places to go. Because we also saw some poison dart frogs, which is something I've always wanted to see. We saw some dendrobates, specifically the strawberry dart frog, or what some people call the blue jean dart frog, which is one that's been on my bucket list since I was like a wee baby. Anyways, we finished out the hike and we went to lunch. And from lunch, we actually had lunch at a hot spring. So then we just went into the hot springs, and one of the springs was just kind of like natural temperature, so it was like 77 degrees, which I was like, this is warmer than the creek water that I swim in back at home. So I was actually like, this is refreshing. Everybody else was like from Puerto Rico or Colombia or Portugal, and they're all like, oh, this is hace frío. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's cool, but I swam in 60-degree water back at home and almost got hypothermia. That was a poor life decision, but I did do that. But back to the hot springs, because they had different temperatures, so it went from like cold, like 77, to extremely hot, so 110 degrees, and I actually had to work my way up, but I did end up fully submerging myself in the really warm hot spring. I would call it hace calor, hot spring. I don't know what to say, how to say hot spring in Spanish, you know, whatever, throw it in the comments below. But then, of course, right around 4 o'clock, I want to say, it started to downpour with like some of the most torrential rain that I'd seen here thus far. And it was like lightning and thunder. And then I noticed, though, that the hot spring had a water slide. Or rather, I thought it was a slide at first, so I went down and it was completely dry. And it was very painful going down. And then they're like, you stupid gringo, it's a water slide. I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. Makes a lot more sense. So then they turned on the water for the stupid American. And then I went down it and videoed it. And I had a blast, fully submerged, lost my phone, lost my hat. Actually, this is the hat I was wearing there, so somehow it didn't get destroyed. We stayed there until like 5 o'clock, and then we drove home. The drive, again, was about another 3 hours. It was a beautiful drive through the rain, believe it or not, and at night. So it gets dark here around 6 p.m., at least this time of year anyways, in La Fortuna. That next day was the day that I really started to work with the animals. There are 4 zones, so I was put in zones 3 and 4. And in zones 3 and 4, I worked with the capuchin monkeys. I got to work with the margays and the ocelots. Got to work with the coyotes, as well as some other really cool, notable animals. But for me, the ocelot and the margay had to be in the top 2 that I wanted to work with while I was here. Then, obviously, we had dinner and we went to bed after having some fun. That next day, I woke up and I was in zone 2. And in zone 2, we had to work with spider monkeys, the collared peccaries, which are like a wild pig species. Those are like the 2 that I really remember, to be honest with you. We did a lot of food prep, obviously, like every day we do. That next day, worked again with the coyotes. Then we went to bed later that day, and the next day arrived. And that was zone 1. So last day I worked on zone 1, which was like the parrots, the parakeets, and the macaws. And so those are some beautiful animals. One even escaped. And I actually got it on the broom, put it on my shoulder. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, how are you so calm? I'm like, it's a parrot. I'm sure it could bite my ear off or maybe like give me like little love kisses. Please. I've worked with bald eagles. Anyways, so we prepared the food, we fed the animals, then we had lunch, fed the animals again, and then we did a deep cleaning at around 5 p.m. And it was pouring rain. That was yesterday, by the way. Today is my last day. Then we had some music playing. Some people did some like singing form of karaoke. I did sing along. I was vibing pretty hard, as they say. Finally, the last day here, which is today, at least in the Rescue Center Costa Rica. And today, I'm not flying out, but I'm meeting some people at the airport to go and serve with a missions organization called Bold Hope on the Pacific side again. We're going to be just north of Jaco in Playa Azul. And I leave here at 12. It's about a half-hour drive to the airport. Well, they'll drop me off. I'll hopefully meet up with my team. And then we can drive 3-ish odd hours to Playa Azul. It has been an honor working here with some of the most unique wildlife and incredible individuals who really have a passion for animals, for nature, and for this country. If you want to donate or volunteer, I'm going to leave the link below for the Rescue Center Costa Rica, as well as I came through a group called GoEco. And if you want to find some really cool ecological trips where you get to work with some animals, volunteer in some really amazing countries, definitely check them out. I will leave their link in the bio below as well. So one last time, I wanted to say thank you, Costa Rica Rescue Center. Hit the subscribe button because this is the first week. We're done with the first week. We got 2 more weeks here. So hit the plus for more amazing videos about nature, animals, and adventure.